Yo, what is up, guys? This is Mr. T coming at you live from NYC. Welcome back to Convos, our podcast over here at TimTalks. And hey, guys, welcome back to another episode, guys and gals. All right. First off, again, I was gonna say this every time, but thank you guys so much for your support. I don't know where we are at now. I'm not even looking at the YouTube channel or the podcast or whatever, but I know that we are getting up there in the world. So again, I'm gonna thank you guys so much for your support and your guidance, as well as just being a part of this. It really means a lot, and being a part of this journey, just improving the podcast. Again, thank you guys. Really means a lot. But another reason why I'm in a good mood is because of the topic today, because this one kind of got a little bit personal again, but just because of the fact that, this person, whoever left it, is asking for some pretty dang critical advice. And also, this one is not so much of a sad topic, and just looking at it, it really makes me reflect on my own personal life, and the fact that talks about love. So that's literally what this podcast is centered on. This episode is centered on love and relationships. So this is gonna get a little bit personal, and I'm not afraid to share, and I'm not afraid to express or really think about how it is with my personal life. But again, if I can help out this person, totally cool. And I really hope for the best for whoever left the comment. And this is why. All right. So the person left this. So, do you have a girlfriend, Mr. T? Don't mind me asking. It's just that, I got some problems with mine. See, she's moving over to Cali, over in the mainland, to be with her family. But I don't know if we're going to work out. I still care for her, though, and I still want us to be together. But, is there a way for us to be together? Now, again, the way it sounds kind of sad, and it sounds kind of serious, but truth be told, the first thing I want to think of is, right, when you have a date, when you have a relationship with someone, right? You gotta always consider a lot of things, right? So you gotta consider, first off, how much time were you with her? Um, Not just so much like, do you love her, right? But think about, the times that you were with her, and the places that you were with her, and just that devotion that you have to her. Or if it's the opposite, right? The girl thinking about the guy, right? How much devotion, how much time, how many places have you been with the guy, right? So really, it boils down to the first thing you want to think about is, how much have you been with your partner? And then from there, that's when you really think about, for example, do you love your partner, right? Because sometimes, and the reason why I'm saying this is because when we put that question into mind, right, of course we're not going to get a straight answer, right? So we're not going to be so straightforward in thinking, for example, oh, do you love the person, right? You got to put some thought into it, right? But how can you put some thought into it if you didn't really take a look at what made you a couple in the first place, right? So, but back to me, I actually don't have a girlfriend, right? And criticize me, accept me for all you want, but just to let you know that I don't have a girlfriend as of this time, and for good reason, all right? And this is because of the fact that, number one, if I'm gonna have a girlfriend, I gotta be there to support her, right? I gotta be there to support her every step of the way. And if I'm an up and coming person just trying to get my life together, apply to work, get a good job, meet the right people, continue to improve the podcast like what I'm doing right now, enjoy my hobbies before I go into any act of commitment. So I want to do that first, right? And if I don't have the ample opportunity to support my partner, every step of the dang way, I'm not gonna freaking go into a relationship just because why afford you to go in one if you're not committed, right? And I get it. When people start off with relationships, right? And people turn a blind eye to, just really thinking about all the complexities and all that stuff. But then again, if you really, really think about it, you gotta put some time and effort into really thinking about your partner. Think about how long this is gonna last or whatever. It sounds like you don't want to think about it at that moment, right? You just want to be with your partner, be with him, be with her, enjoy lovey-dovey, enjoy those sightseeing, heartwarming, heart-wrenching moments, right? And just to be together, right? And again, I'm not gonna criticize how a person comes to love, right? I'm not gonna criticize how people love each other. I'm not gonna criticize, for example, how other people met, how people got together, how they kept the relationship for so long. Again, that's not the issue there, right? And so if all those things considered, right, that's why I held back on having a girlfriend or having a partner in general, just because of the fact that there's just so much to put into it. And I'm that person who's like, I see one, I meet one, and she's my forever, right? And that's the kind of mindset you want to have on. It's not like, coming from the guy's perspective, guys, really, girls shouldn't be experiments. Girls shouldn't be like, oh, she's with me, but it's not gonna work out, right? Go in depth, like literally look at a girl and think about it, who this person is, right? And think about the circumstances. And back to the comment, if whoever left the comment, most likely it's a guy, but if your girlfriend's moving over to the mainland, chances are, right, if you do love her, keep to it, right? Keep to it regardless of the distance, because every bit of faith in the relationship is gonna amount to something more with it, right? And so, having that in mind with your girlfriend, having that in mind with your boyfriend, distance doesn't matter when it comes to love. Literally, you can keep going with the relationship regardless if you're just a city away or across the dang Pacific Ocean. It doesn't matter, right? And like I said, really it boils down to all those things about commitment, right? It boils down to how far do you want to go in the relationship and with your partner, right? So I'm gonna take a step back and get a little bit personal with my life, right? So when it comes down to, I was asked this question before. I was asked before, who do I love? Did I ever have a crush? Did I have that high school? Was I ever that high school lover or lovey or whatever, right? And from there, I really thought about it, and I did have those instances, those moments where I did have a liking to someone, and we're always gonna have that. I did have that inclination, that love to other people, right? But again, I played it smart, and not because, like I said, girls are not experiments, right? And the way I said it, I'm a one person type of person. Till death do we part, right? And so when I choose a partner, it's gonna be forever, right? But the thing is about me is, maybe it's just me being humble or whatever, but regardless if whoever I date or whatever can reciprocate, showcase that same, it doesn't matter to me, right? I'm committed to her, and she can do her best for me, right? And above all, when we get to know each other, right, things should improve, right? Because of the fact that we put our thoughts into who we want to be with, right? And those kind of things. And that was always in my mind in high school when it came down to, did I want to be a bachelor or did I want to have a partner? But really, it boils down to, how far do we gonna go? And then I carried that mindset over even to now, right? Which is why, like I said, I did not insist on having a partner just yet, because so much goes into a relationship, and that's all that you can become of it, right? And so the fact that if you're going to commit yourself to something, go all in on it, right? And even if things worse comes to worse, like I said before, you tried, right? It was in another episode, right? And then back to this person, right? Hopefully I settled that. So I don't have a girlfriend, but like I said, if circumstances change and if I get my life, my act together and all those things, then yeah, I can consider it, right? But guys, really don't get into a relationship just for the love of it, right? Don't get into the relationship knowing that you can't sustain it, right? Because then it just creates heartbreak, and that's gonna suck. That's absolutely gonna suck later on when you're gonna have to pose that question, right? Not pop the question as in commitment forever, right? But pose the question as in, is this gonna work out, right? So again, that always keep that in mind, right? And again, whoever left the comment, don't mind asking me that, right? Just because I can try and give you like the best answer that I can, right? And um again, when it comes down to the problems, you got some problems with your girlfriend, but just from the way the comment was left, chances are that the problem wasn't centered on like anything bad. Well, that's good, right? I can only assume that your relationship is going well, And I'm hoping for the best and hoping for that continuous, lifelong commitment that I hope you have in mind when you go on with your relationship, right? For the days, weeks, months, and years to come, right? So I'm hoping for the best for that, right? And then, you know, back to moving to Cali, right? So I get it. I get that distance. So I don't know where you live, whoever left the comment, right? But the way that you're sounding, I'm assuming it is far. I'm just assume that where she's heading and where you're living right now, the distance is pretty big. It's pretty, substantial and all that stuff. But, you know, to be with her family again, that's not an argument, right? And looking at your comment again, you seem like a reasonable dude, and the fact that you're saying this tells me that you know that that's a reasonable that's a reason, right? That's a pretty big reason, right? To want to see your family, kind of like how I wanted to see my own here, right? And again, when it comes down to family, again, regardless of how you may think of them, you may think of yours or you may think of hers, right? If the person wants to see them, he or she should have that chance, right? And so, to see your family, again, no arguments there. Give it a chance, right? But the thing is, you mentioned here if you're gonna work out. But if there isn't any argument, any quarrel, anything to get pissed off at each other about, again, then keep going. It's the best advice I could give you is to keep going with the relationship, right? And if you think that you're not gonna work out, really think about it and take away the distance, right? Take away the distance and reflect on what's left, right? What do you have left to show for? Is it worth it, right? Is it worth keeping the relationship? Because by and large, if there wasn't any argument and the only thing that's stopping is the distance, right? For sure, I think the relationship is gonna keep going. And, you know, some people, again, whoever's out there in the audience, you may criticize me, go for it. If you think that it's not as realistic. What I'm saying, though, is that the idea that a relationship will stop because of just distance, right? Again, after everything you've been through with him or her, your partner, is that really gonna stop because of the distance? Love has no distance. Literally, love doesn't take into account distance, right? It's not a calculation. Love is not a calculation. It's not a risk. It's real, right? So quote that, like, love isn't a calculation. Love isn't a risk. It's real. And it doesn't account for example, distance. Doesn't account, for example, other things, right? If this person is your partner, right? What for is the distance gonna matter when love can go on forever, right? So those kind of things sounds poetic, but it's true, right? I've seen people go for places, right? And for example, let me give you an example. So I remember there's this I had this friend, I'm gonna call him Jay, and then Jay, he had his partner as well go over to the mainland, to the US, one of the 50 states, just because, not just because, forgive me, they had to go because she had to go for college, right? But they're still together, just on different ends of the globe, and they chat with each other. They go on Facebook, WhatsApp, they go on Instagram, they share their life, they show themselves getting their act together, and they're still together. And I'm happy for them just because they kept it going. And mind you, that's across the Pacific Ocean, 7,000 miles of ocean, and they're still together. So that just shows you how distance really isn't a factor. Distance really shouldn't impede you in your relationship, right? And again, like I said, I don't know the dynamic of the relationship. I don't know how serious or how light it may be with this transition, the way it's gonna work. But really, boiling down to it, distance really wouldn't matter here, right? If there is no other argument apart from the distance that you're away from each other, you'll keep going. Because you mentioned here, I still care for her, right? Now that, my man, is something that should be commended. That's a comment that really, really sells it, that the relationship is real. And people might think, how can I just, Mr. T, how can I just think of it from a bunch of words? Well, believe me when I tell you, words can tell something, right? There's a quote like this says, actions speak louder than words. Well, in some parts. But again, words can have just as much of an effect, right? So, I still care for her though. That's what you wrote here. I still want us to be together. Good. That is a good mindset to have when it comes down to dealing with long distance relationships and long term relationships, right? I still care. I still want to be together, right? Those are the words of like a Romeo and Juliet kind of scenario, right? Or not even that, just like someone who's committed. Like if I'm thinking about my grandmother, my grandfather, my Lolo and Lola, as we refer to in Tagalog, because I'm Filipino, I'm literally thinking about them and they were committed to the very end, right? Till death do they part. And that's without phones. That's without quarrel, right? That's when the idea that they move distances away from each other and the fact that they can still be together till death do they part, right? If they can do it, why not us, right? And I know that back then they couldn't travel as far apart, right? But then again, any distance away from your hubby and bubby is really something that could affect the relationship, right? The distance, if people think about it in that mindset. But really, true love does not consider distance. I'm gonna be straightforward right now. That true love really doesn't have um is not impeded by anything in terms of distance, in terms of time, in terms of money, in terms of all those things, right? You know, relationships really, it boils down to both of you. It boils down to the love, right? Love is above all unquestionable. And I'm not talking about love as in like the sexual kind of love. No, none of that, right? You know, thinking about the sex, that's not love, right? That's just acts of fulfillment, right? In fact, when you start off a relationship, you shouldn't even think about the sex. You should think about your partner, the one who's right there in front of you. But really, you know, you asked here, is there a way, for you guys to be together, right? Now, I'm going to talk about that in a general way. Well, first off, keep open the communication. I'm going to tell you that right now, communication is key. And regardless if you guys are on opposite ends of the globe, one of you is sleeping, one is awake, send each other a message. Let each other know what's going on in your life. Because what's going on in your lives, because of the fact that when in doubt, communication keeps the relationship open, right? Communication means that the relationship hasn't died. Whether it be an emoji or a whole dang paragraph, it doesn't matter, right? But just to know that you guys are keeping in touch with each other, right? And don't be obsessive as in like doing it multiple paragraphs, multiple photos every day, right? Again, also deal with the fact that your life should still keep going, right? The fact that, for example, again, with your hubby and bubby, keep in mind the communication, but keep in mind the time, right? Because that distance apart, right? That means you both are adjusting to your new circumstances, your new lives, right? Give time to that as well as each other, right? Because you both want to survive in the world. You want to make something in the world, right? You want to join the world. And how can we do that if really we don't give the time to that as well as each other, right? So again, all those things in mind, and that's probably where you got overwhelmed. What I'm thinking here is that, again, this sounds so simple, but again, our minds think a little bit differently, right? Think about it mentally in terms of like mental health, right? Relationships can be one thing that affects it, right? It can give us enough joy and love and all those wonderful things. But it can also give us sadness and disappointment if we really look at um in depth and think too deep about a relationship, right? And again, When it comes down to love, right? Like I said, I don't have a girlfriend, but many people are thinking like, where does this advice come from? Really, it boils down to where the love is. And it's absolutely beautiful when it comes down to your partner, right? Again, it seems as though it's hard to find the right partner. And I know that it seems hard to find the one that you're going to commit to for the rest of your life, right? But hey, if my grandparents can do it, no phones, very minimal communication, sometimes going places just because of their job or their commitments, right? But they stay together till the very end, right? Till death do they part. How much more now when we have all the tools that we got at our disposal? How much more if we got Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok even, right? To know that we're doing okay. And again, be happy as well, because if there weren't any problems that you didn't disclose in the comment, that means you got a chance, right? Maintain the communication, keep an open mind, allow yourselves and each other the time to be able to make a life, right? Make a life that you guys can, wherever, whatever happens, right? If you guys see each other again, guy meets girl, girl goes to guy, right? To know that you guys are settled and that you're ready to do your lives together again, right? Because there'll always come a time, right? The distance, again, will be far for the time being, but again, it's your love that's going to shorten how much of an impact that's going to have, right? So again, that's the best advice I can think of. And I hope for the best for you and your hubby. I hope for the best for your partner. And to anyone out there who feels that they're going through the same challenges, right? Doesn't have to be about distance. It can also be about just anything with your partner, right? Finances, college, jobs, right? Yeah, they're going to test the waters. They're going to test you guys and your relationships. But if love isn't bound by anything material or anything of the world, right? Doesn't that mean there's a chance? So, keep that in mind, right? But anyway, that's gonna be it for this episode of Convos. Again, I know this looks a little bit shorter than the other episodes, but I think we got the gist down of what it is when it comes down to having that good relationship, right? And if you're thinking this doesn't pertain to mental health, I've seen how relationships can go. Some people can even fall into depression because of the way they manage their relationship. I've seen that. But it's simple facts and it's simple changes to our lives that really will make the difference, right? So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please let me know in the comments what you feel, what you're thinking, or if you guys want as well, please PM me and DM me if you guys want something that I should discuss. If you guys have anything you want to chat about, again, I'll keep those open. I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible, because again, I want to build my life for when I have my own partner. I want to build my life for you guys as well. When you guys ever need help, I'm gonna be there for you every step of the way. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like, share, sub, and much love. This is Mr. T signing off. Much love. I will see you at the next episode. And please have an awesome day. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your relationships. Continue to love, because we need that more in the world. All right? Peace.